Good evening, everyone. It's Marilynne from Ecstasy Crafts, and welcome to our virtual class for July 7th. So I hope everyone's having a great evening and a great summer so far. And thank you for joining me. Today we're going to make some gift bags. My camera seems a little blurry here. I think it's better. So we're going to make different size gift bags. The first one we're going to make is a small gift bag. And you can see that it does fold flat. And that is going to help you store it. So if you make several ahead, then you're going to be able to store them flat. We're then going to make a slightly larger gift bag. And sorry for the pattern of the paper, but it creates that little sparkle effect. But really, it's a checkered pattern. The camera makes it go a little crazy. And then the next size gift bag we're going to make is, it's a 12 inches wide by 10 inches long. And then it has a 3 3/4 inch base and side. Because I have the camera for the gift bags, sort of half the screen, you can't see the full size, but you will see the full size when we move to make it. So each one has some little differences, and that's why I thought it would be good to make the 3 sizes, not only to have different sizes of gift bags, but also so that you can make alternate sizes if you have different size objects that you wish to put in the bag. So hopefully everyone has gathered some 12 by 12 paper or 6 by 6 paper, and then we can get started. I used for our first small gift bag the 6 by 6 paper in the Belle Fleur 6 by 6 paper pad. And that's because we used it in a previous class. And so I thought if people had joined us for previous classes, then it's always nice to use product that you already have on hand. And so I chose that. And so what you need to do is choose 2 pieces from your 6 by 6 paper pad. Now, I chose 2 of the same, and I would suggest you choose 2 of the same. So the front of the bag has one pattern and the back of the bag has another. But I think just for ease of making the design, choose 2 of the same papers. So these are the ones that I've chosen. It kind of has this sort of ivy type pattern on the one side, and then it has another sort of white and beige pattern on the second side. My camera seems a little blurry. I'm sorry. I might have to try and change it. I'm just gonna see if I can. Well, let's see how we do. Let me know if there are issues. Oh, somebody has no volume. Oh, they can hear on YouTube, but they were having problems with Facebook. Okay, I think my mic is working. I do have one muted and the other should be okay. I can just double check here. No, it should be working okay. So hopefully people are hearing all right. So the small bag, we're going to use the 6x6 from the Belle Fleur collection. However, if you have another paper that's 6x6 or you cut a 12x12 into 4, you can use that. Doesn't matter. The instructions are the same, really. Then for the next size of gift bag, I'm going to use this paper pad from Studio Light, and it has 12 different 12x12 papers in it. And I'm just going to put up that's the item number for you if you're interested in checking it out. It has 12 double-sided sheets of paper. It has this one with a bunch of items on the front of it. And then it has several, or 2 of each design, pieces of paper that have a variety of patterns. So this has a variety of stars. There's some with a variety of dots. And then I used this paper pack to make this gift bag as well, which has, it almost looks like polka dots, and that's why the camera doesn't like it either. But they're little wee crosses with little sort of pebbly pattern on the inside. And the nice thing about double-sided pieces of paper is that you're going to be able to have the inside of the bag look nice as well. So that's the advantage. And then this smaller gift bag it's a checkered pattern. That's why it's looking a little blurry on the camera, with another pebbly pattern on the inside. So again, it has a lovely pattern on the inside that decorates your bag. Remember, it is on sale for 50% off, which is a great deal because you can make many gift bags for just under $9. This is another design that I made. Again, it's hard to fit in the size of the screen. I'm just going to move it to a single screen. And it has paint splotches at the bottom. And then it has the inside of a light green with star patterns. So you could do the opposite, because the inside all has a green. I'm going to try and lift it up with the star patterns. But so you can make that on the outside, and then this pattern could be on the inside. It's up to you. But anyway, those are all the papers in the pack. I've kind of tried to use them all, except for the 6x6. So what I'd like to do is start with this small gift bag. Now I'm hoping that you have the instructions with you. If you don't, they should be available on the website. Carrie or Corey, I think, tried to send them out. And we're going to follow them because it does give you the measurements. So I'm just going to try and explain to you some of the thought process so that you can make your own size gift bags if you have a different size item that you wish to put in the gift bag. What I tried to do was make the largest size gift bag I could from the size of paper that I had to use. So this little gift bag measures 4 inches lengthwise, well, this height, I guess, 4 inches height, by 3.5 inches in width. And then it is a 2-inch wide gift bag. And the base is 2 inches as well. So basically the base and the sides need to be the same dimension or inches. So in this case, it was 2 inches. I did add a little piece of silver paper to create some bling, I guess, to the top of the bag. And that was because I wasn't that happy with the inside pattern. It's a pretty pattern. That's not my the thing I was concerned about. But if I folded it down, I didn't think it looked the best on this pattern. So I just added a little piece of the silver foiled paper, and you could use white paper. You could use any color that might coordinate with the paper you're using. And then I used some lace ribbon to make the handles for the gift bag. So let's get started. I'm going to put all my pieces of paper away here that we're going to use later. And we're going to take our 2 6x6 pieces of paper. So decide which side you want to have on the outside. And what we're going to do is we're going to score the paper at 2 inches. I'm going to get my scoreboard here. Now I do have my large hunky-dory scoreboard, which I'm really liking. However, unfortunately, it's sold out right now on the website. Dennis does have more coming in. I'm just not sure of the estimated time of arrival. There is a smaller scoreboard available. This one is the size that fits the 12 by 12 paper. But use whatever scoreboard you might have, and have the side that you want on the front of the bag facing you. And then we're going to score at 2 inches. Now, before I begin, if there is a direction to your paper, meaning like in this example or in this example, it is a floral pattern and there is a direction to the leaves. So this is my top, and the opposite, of course, would be the bottom. So what we want to do is we're going to choose to score 2 inches along the bottom and the 2 sides. So I'm just going to run my stylus. So this is the bottom. And then on one piece of the paper, we're going to score at 2 inches. And that's because this is going to form the side. So I'm now going to score along 2 inches along this side. So this is my one side. On this side, I'm only going to score at 1/2 inch. Well, I just use it because I can see 6.5 inch from the 6. But if you needed to turn it around, you could do that and score at a half. And that's because the other side of the paper is going to form the 2-inch side. And this little 1/2 inch is just going to allow us to attach it. So now what you're going to do is do exactly the same thing on your second piece of paper. So this is my side, so I'm going to score at 2 inches. On this right-hand side, I'm scoring at a half. And then on the bottom, so I did turn it over, I'm going to score at 2 inches as well. So now I have my 2 pieces of paper that are scored exactly the same way. And now what I'm going to do is fold along my score lines. And you can burnish your fold lines if you like with a bone folder, or how your the stylus or the scoring tool that comes with your scoreboard. And so we now have the folded lines. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing with our second piece of paper that we've scored. All right. So we have 2 exactly the same scored 6x6 pieces of paper. Now what we're going to do is, again, if you have a directional pattern on your paper, you want to fold at the bottom or use the bottom score lines. So the one is at the intersection of the 2 and 2-inch score lines. And you're going to just cut up until the 2-inch score line at the top. So we're just going to cut it up. And what that's going to do is going to allow you to fold it like this. And the bottom's going to be able to be folded in to form part of the bottom of the bag. This side, what you're going to do is cut this off. So you're going to cut up to the 2-inch score line, and then you're going to cut the horizontal score line to that 1/2 inch score line. Okay, so you're just going to cut this little wee piece of paper off. And what that's going to do is allow you to, I'm just trying to get rid of some of these things here. Attach your second piece of paper to this side, and then we'll have this second piece to fold in. Okay, so now we're going to do exactly the same thing with your second piece of paper. So again, we're going to cut up the 2-inch score line to the horizontal 2-inch score line. And then we're going to cut up the 1/2 inch score line to the 2-inch. And then we're going to cut the 1/2 inch off, the little square off. Okay. So again, we have 2 pieces that are exactly the same. And now what you're going to do is take some double-sided tape, and we're going to put pieces of tape onto this 1/2 inch score line here. Again, we're going to do this, well, not exactly the same. So this piece on each of the pieces of paper, this little 1/2 inch score line. And then one of these bottom flaps, we need some tape on, and the other one we don't. Because the one is going to fold over the other side, and so we don't want tape on it. So it doesn't matter to me whichever one you want to fold first, you can put some tape on it. And I'm using the 9.5 millimeter because I happen to have that. But this is a small bag, and you could use a smaller width of tape. Now, on each of these corners, we do want to put some tape because they fold to the inside of the bag, and then these flaps fold over them, or the first flap will. So put some tape on these two squares. I'm going to use my thinner tape because that's plenty of adhesive. Now, if you're not using double-sided tape, you can also use glue to do this. Sometimes when you're getting used to the design, using double-sided tape is a little easier because you just can plan things a little easier. But once you're familiar with it, then glue would be fine as well. All right, so now we're going to start to adhere the pieces together. Actually, well, no, this will be fine. We'll do this first. So I'm going to peel the protective layer off this piece of double-sided tape, and I'm just going to line one side up to it and press down. So now I have a longer piece of paper. And now what I'm going to do is fold the little 1/2 inch piece to the inside, peel off the protective layer, and then just adhere this piece to it. Now it should line up perfectly. What you might want to do is offset the fold so you can see it better. And now you have a box with 2 open ends. So hopefully everyone's following. I'm just going to check in. Yeah, so people are like, oh, Wendy said, I like making double pocket tag cards out of the double-sided papers. Yeah, there's so many uses for double-sided paper, so it's great to have some in your stash. All right, so what I recommend now is with the end that doesn't have any flaps, put that down, and then you have the flap portions in front of you. So what you're going to do is these two are going to fold to the inside, and that's why we have tape on those. Then you're going to fold the first flap that has the double-sided tape on it, and then we're going to fold this one on top. We actually did it. So now I'm going to take the protective layer off of each of the sides, or the inner flaps, I guess we could call them. And then we're going to hold it up again, push it in, and then fold the piece or the flap with the double-sided tape on the outside towards the inside. Now, what you might want to do before you take this tape, the protective layers off, is fold it down, and then you can put your hand inside and just press down, and that will help the double-sided tape to adhere. So you can see how pretty the inside of the bag is because we're using the double-sided paper. Now, what you can do is take off the protective layer of this double-sided tape and then fold it down on top of the flap. And now we have the basis for our gift bag. Now, there's a few ways that you can make it fold flat. One is to score the back, or whatever you choose to be the back, at, in this instance, it's 1 inch. But to always think about what distance you need to fold, it needs to be half of the base. So you fold, this is a 2-inch base, hence we're going to make a score line here if we did it beforehand. But you can also kind of cheat, and that's why I thought we would do it with the smaller bag, because it's easier to do that than with a bigger bag. So the next size bag will actually make the score line ahead of time. And to do that is to take your bag and with your index fingers press in on the sides so you can squeeze the top together. Then you're going to slowly move down until you feel a little bit of resistance there as you're getting close to the edge. And then you're going to press down and just fold it one way or the other, whatever your hands decide to do, either the front or the back. And then that will make the gift bag fold flat, and it just makes the fold in the bag. So instead of scoring at this line, we just made it happen. So the one side will be smooth and the back side will have the crease in it. And that will, and then you automatically make the fold lines in the side, but you could actually score this line as well. And I think when we have larger bags, it's just a little bit easier to score it ahead of time. So that's our first little gift bag. What I thought we would do this evening is make the bags first, and then we can add the embellishments, or we can add the ribbon or whatever we're going to use for the handles. And I have a few options to show you for that as well. So that's the little gift bag made. So that was pretty simple and a great way to use some of your 6x6 paper, and you have little gift bags for your gifts. So whether you're making gift bags for everyday occasions or Christmas, you can make them ahead of time, and then they're all ready for the gifts you want to give. So we'll finish this little one off to make it look something like this. And after we finish the other gift bags. So the next size gift bag we're going to make is I just have to find my measurement. So this one, again, sorry for that. It just has that really sort of camera different feel, but it's really just a checkered pattern. So this one measures 8 inches high. So this way is 8 inches by 6 inches. And then I made it a 3-inch wide gift bag. And then again, because the base and the sides need to be the same width, this is also a 3-inch base. And again, it's a fold flat. And this time we will score the line for the base to fold up, as well as the inner line on the sides. Otherwise, this is very, very similar. We're just going to use 12 by 12 paper. And so you're going to have a few, oh, I didn't actually cut my 12 by 12 paper, which is fine. We're going to cut the 12 by 12 paper 2.5 inches off each piece. All right. Now for this bag that I actually made as a sample, I doubled up on the sides, but it made it very, very thick. So I wanted to do exactly the same as we just did with the little bag, where one side just have a 1/2 inch score line and the other side will be the full piece. All right, so for this bag, I'm going to choose this paper. So this has a whole bunch of different little pictures on it. And I thought it would be kind of cute for the outside of a bag. So there's a camera and balloons, a little dog, a feather, some flowers. You make me smile, princess, kids rule, superhero. So it's great for a children's bag. So what you need to do is cut 2.5 inches off one side. You choose the side, whatever works best for the paper that you chose to use. I'm just going to bring in my large paper cutter. To do this. So it's a 12 by 12 piece. So basically I just have to cut 2.5 inches off, which is 9.5. Now you're going to need your scoreboard. And if you don't have a scoreboard, I did say in the instructions that you could use a trimmer. Now, I don't think I brought my trimmer here. But in the sort of little track that allows you to trim, you could run your stylus along that to create a score line to fold. So that's how you would use a trimmer as a scoreboard. So I'm going to grab my scoreboard here again. And for this bag, Again, you need to know if you're going to need to be aware of the direction of the paper. So for this example, I do need to make sure that I have the front or the top of the bag, because we're going to score 1 inch so that the 1 inch folds down at the top. So I think I'm going to do that first. So I chose to do a 1 inch pattern at the top, but you can make it larger if you wanted. Doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to score at 1 inch here. And then each of the sides were 2.5 inches, if I'm not mistaken. What did I? Sorry, or 3 inches. They're 3 inches. So then we need to score on one side at 3. So this is my first side. And the other side at 1/2. Now I can do this on my large scoreboard, but you might have to turn it around. But again, just make sure on the opposite side, it's 1/2. And then at the base, it's the same as the sides. And we're going to make that 3. I don't really have to turn it over. And I'm going to just do it at 3. Okay. So let's do that for the second piece of paper, because it's exactly the same again. So remember to put the paper like the way you want it facing. And then we're going to do 3 inches along, let's say, the left side, 1/2 inch along the right side. We're going to turn it. The base, we're going to score at 3 inches. And then the top, we want that to fold over, and that's going to be 1 inch. But again, you could choose 2 if you wanted. So let's fold these pieces back. Or in the top, I want to fold towards me so that I have the coordinating paper showing. And then the other sides are going to fold inward. Like I flipped it over, you can see that. And this is going to fold in. And then the base, all right, the base here, fold in. So that's the end result for that. And what I want you to do is do exactly the same thing for the second piece. So just fold along your score lines. And remember the top, if you have a coordinating piece of paper that you chose to use, then fold that the opposite way. And then everything else folds inward. And I think I did all of that. Okay. So we have 2 pieces folded exactly the same. Now, like I explained with the first little bag, for this bag, we're going to add the score lines to make it fold flat. So the easiest might be to choose one. It doesn't matter. They're exactly the same. Now I folded it, maybe fold the bottom piece out and then put it in your scoreboard. And this bottom piece, which is going to form the base of the bag, as I said initially, we need to add another half of this distance. So in this instance, it's a half of 3 inches, which is 1.5 inches above it. And then that will allow the bag to fold, because it needs to fold at half that distance. Basically folds in half. So what we're going to do is take our stylus and we're going to make a score line at 4.5. Now, really, you only need to score between the two. Like if I folded this in, you only need to score for this piece of the bag. You don't really have to score for the sides of the bag. So if you can actually see your score line, mine's like along here. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm just going to sort of go along 4.5 here and then start pressing until I reach the 1/2 inch score line. Because you really do, if you do it from one side to the other, it really doesn't matter. You're not going to see it in this kind of pattern paper, but you could just score it for the front actual piece or back of the bag. But you really want it just for one side. And then, because we also want the sides to fold in, again, I'm going to show you our small little bag. Now we just pinched this, which you could with this as well. But I'm just going to show you how you can do it another way, that you actually make this score line. And so that's also half of the size of the side. And we're going to just score our 3-inch sides. So you can open it up because you don't really need to do the overlapping piece. Oh, well, actually you do. So let's just score at 1.5 down here. And for the side, we actually need to do both pieces of the bag, but we don't have to do the other score line we made because we only need to do that for the back of the bag. So again, my score line's at 3, the one where I folded it. And now I'm just going to add a score line at 1.5. And technically we don't have to go all the way down, but it just makes it a little easier to do. We just need to go to the score line, the horizontal score line that we made at the back, which is about 4.5 inches, but just score right down. It'll make it simpler. All right. So now we have the back that has a score line. It's very difficult for you to see. Well, there it is. You can see just above where the base of the bag will begin. So 1.5 inches. And then we have the two sides scored at 1.5. So now we're going to just cut like we did before. So because we need to create the flaps for the inside of the bag, so we're going to cut just the 3 inches here. So cut 3 inches up. And then we're going to cut the 3 inches with the 1/2 inch score line up to the 3 inch score line. And we're going to remove that. Okay, so one we've just cut up at 3 inches just to the 3 inch score line. The other little strip we've cut off. And we're going to do exactly the same for the other piece of paper. So I'm going to do this one first. So just cut to the 3 inch score line and then a 1/2 inch in. And then this one we're just going to cut up. So now we're going to do the same thing as a little gift bag, and we're going to add some double-sided tape. Now, for this instance, I think I'm going to open up this fold over piece and add the tape, and then add the second piece directly on top, and then I'll have a double at the fold over. Okay. I have a little extra in here. I'm just going to trim that off. And then you might recall, well, let's do this one first. And then we're going to add to one of the bottom flaps. So why don't we do that first? We're going to add double-sided tape. So don't go all the way across past the cut line, just for this one flap. And then we're going to add some double-sided tape to each of these, which will form the inner flaps. I just chose a little bit thinner tape. Doesn't need to be so sticky. And then for the second piece, we're not going to put anything on this piece that's going to become the outer flap of the base, just on the inner flap. Okay, Debbie said she was late. And she said, I'm hoping you post or email the instructions, please. So the instructions should be posted already. And this video will be up as soon as we're finished on Facebook and on YouTube. So not to worry that you're late. We're making the medium-sized gift bag, and then we will still be going on and making a large-sized gift bag. All right. So the next step is that we're going to join these two pieces together. So what I'm going to do is remove the protective layer from the double-sided tape along the 1/2-inch score line. And I'm going to add this other piece, lining it up. It's hard to see with the pattern, so that it matches. And then we can fold this side in, and or if you want to see what you're doing, fold along some of the other score lines, and then you can make it flat. And sometimes that's easier, because then you just have a little bit better sight of how you're adding the pieces, but the scoring should make it all just line up well. Okay, so now, once again, we have a box with two open ends. This is going to be taller than my camera, but what I'm going to do is place the open flat end. Actually, oh, you know what? You didn't fold it over. I didn't think of that. It's going to be a little tricky to fold. Maybe we should do that first. So try and oops, yeah, this, we needed to fold it separately. Shoot. All right, I'm going to try, because of double-sided tape, and fold it, pull it open again. Yeah, you kind of need to pull it apart at the double-sided. Oh, sorry, I kind of messed that up here. Because we just needed to be able to fold this paper back. Well, my edges weren't so nice, but just have to fix it. Or you could just leave it without the coordinating border. I actually managed to rip mine a little bit here. Well, that's what not to do. So now we're going to fold it front side down, or hold it front side down, and then take off the protected pieces from the double-sided tape from each of the sides. I'm just trying to do it so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. And then fold it up. And we're going to fold those two pieces to the inside. Now what you want to do is fold the flap that has the double-sided tape on the outside and just gently press it down. I'm going to fold this flap down so that I can turn it upside down, and then just press with my fingers along the outside of the bag. So that allows those flaps to adhere. And now I'm going to take off the protective layers here, and then just fold this other bottom flap down. And then you have your bag with not the best little edge, but I can use some glue and put that together, and mine won't show too bad. And if you're not happy with the way yours looks, then you can always add another little strip of red paper or something around the outside edge, and that'll just hide that, or whatever color that might coordinate with your bag. So now, remember we made a score line at the back. So this is the back. So I want you to have the back with the score line facing the back. And then we actually scored each of the sides. So now you should be able to do something similar where you pinch the top pieces together and then slowly work your way down the bag until you do feel a little bit of resistance, and then you want to fold it towards the back. So then it will be a fold flat gift bag. So I'm going to turn it over so you can see the back. And again, it folds nice and flat. So again, great for storage. So you can put a whole bunch of gift bags inside a larger gift bag, and then you're ready to go for any occasion that you might have. So that's the medium size gift bag. And we're going to put this aside as well. And then we're going to add the handles to the gift bag after we make the next size. All right. So the next size gift bag we're going to make is larger. And I thought, how can we maximize the use of 12 by 12 paper? So this size is 12 wide, and then it ended up being 10 inches high because I folded over 2 inches. So if we did that with 2 sides of paper, we needed to make sides and a base from a coordinating color. And if I wanted the gift bag to be 12 inches wide, then it would be ideal to have 12-inch paper. But if you happen to have 8.5 by 11-inch coordinating paper, which is what I tend to have more of than 12-inch paper, then I'm going to show you how you can use the 8.5 by 11-inch paper to create the sides and the base. So that's our next project. So choose 2 pieces of 12 by 12 paper. And then we do need coordinating cardstock, or this is 65 grams squared cardstock. I wouldn't recommend very thick paper. For the bag I just showed you, I actually used a thicker piece of cardstock for the side and the base, and it's just too thick. It doesn't fold very well. So I would use the 65-pound cardstock. So that's what this is. And I'm going to use this paper from the paper pack. So it has it's a peachy color with red stars and white stars and turquoise stars. And hence I chose a coordinating turquoise paper to add to the sides and the base. So the sides and the base are 4.5 inches wide by 11 inches. So you really need 2 pieces of your by 8.5 by 11 paper. But and you're going to cut them in half lengthwise, but we're only going to use 3 pieces for the gift bag. So you have 1 piece left over for another gift bag if you like, or for some other project you're going to use. So for this paper, we're going to score at 2 inches, and that's for a couple of reasons. One, because we're using 8.5 by 11-inch paper for the sides and the base, and we need a little bit of an overhang at the base so that we can add the bottom piece as well. So that's why I need the 2-inch border at the top. So what we're going to do is get your scoreboard again, and we're going to score 2 inches from the top. Now, this paper has a variety of pictures on the back. So that I'm going to turn over are facing the correct direction at the top. So that's the only thing if you're using double-sided paper where there's pictures on the back. So this is the way I want it. So I'm going to score at 2 inches. And then I can fold this back. And my pattern is in the correct direction. I probably should have scored it a little bit longer. So because this has a sentiment to the moon in back, so you can read it. And a little turtle here. All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing for this piece of paper. So again, score at 2 inches and fold this back. So the front and the back right now are the same. For the base of the card, let me just get my instructions because I know we cut it at 4 1/4. And then we're going to have a half, let me just double check. I think it's a score at 1 inch. Yes, on the base. Okay. We'll come back to scoring the back. So now, hopefully you've had a chance to cut your 4 1/4 by 11 inch pieces. So again, we need 3 of these. And we're going to start to score these. So put them lengthwise in your trimmer if you're using that to score, or your scoreboard. And what we're going to do is we're going to score at a 1/2 inch. On each side. And this is what we're going to use to attach to the edges of our double-sided paper that we've scored already. And then we're also going to score for 2 of them at 1 inch. And this is going to fold over. I'm just going to sort of give you a visual here of how we're going to do this. It's going to attach to this. And then this is going to fold up at the base. I'm just going to move it up. So we're going to fold it, and then it's going to be like this and fold in on the bottom. So you're going to repeat this on one of the other pieces you have. So again, we're going to score at 1/2 inch from each side. And then at 1 inch. So these represent the sides. And then before we finish with the side pieces, in order to allow it to score flat, we want to score right down the middle. So this piece is 4 1/4 inches wide. So that would be 2 1/8 inch is directly in the center. So I actually have that measurement. I'm just looking at it myself to see, does that look right? And then we're going to do exactly the same for the other side piece. 2 1/8. You really only have to go down to the 1 inch at the base. You don't have to go down the 1 inch, but it really doesn't matter. All right, so these are our 2 side pieces. Now, to create the base of the bag, we're going to just score at a 1/2 inch from each of the lengthwise sides. So again, 1/2 inch here like we did before, and then a 1/2 inch on the other side. So that's all the scoring we really have to do. Oh, I lied. Choose one of your pieces to be the back. And remember to fold a gift bag flat like we just did. We need to add a score line to the back that is 1/2 of the base added to the back. So this one, we don't have any flaps to form the base because we're going to use one of the coordinating pieces to serve as the base. So for this one, we just need to add a score line at the base is 3 3/4. So 1/2 of 3 3/4 is 1 7/8. That's 3/4. Okay, so I just have to do it in here. So 1 7/8. I do have 8-inch increments on my scoreboard I'm using. And that's going to serve for my, just to allow it to fold flat on the back. So this is going to become my back piece because I now have a score line in there. And you do need to go all the way across this time because this forms the whole back of the bag. All right, so you can put your scoreboard away again. And now what we need to do is gather your side pieces. And we're going to fold along our score lines. And you can burnish the folds if you like. It does make it easier. And you don't have to worry about the center score line because we can just pinch that in and it will just make it fold easier. So do that for all of the remaining pieces. So again, we have 2 sides and the 1 base. And then this is my base because I only have the score lines on each of the sides. Okay. So now what we want to do is add some double-sided tape to our pieces. I'm going to use my 9.5 millimeter for the sides, but if you have 5 millimeter, that would work as well. When your gift bags are larger, they may hold heavier items. So having just a little more adhesive can make sure that they're going to be able to accommodate those heavier pieces. Now what I've done is I've only taped to the 1-inch score line at the base, but we do want tape along this piece as well, but I didn't want it continuous. Just makes it easier to put together if it's not continuous. Okay, so that's the one side done. And then I'm going to do the other side. Again, along each side. And then the extra little piece at the base. And then for the actual base, we're going to just go along the entire length that will form the base. So we have our 2 side pieces with the sides taped, and then the base. So what I found the easiest was to add one piece of the base to either the front or the back piece. And I've got my front in front of me because I don't have the score line on it. Doesn't matter. And you can see that it's longer than my base piece. So when I add this front to the base, I just want to make sure there's a little bit on either side. Okay. It doesn't, you don't have to measure it. It doesn't have to be exact. But what I'm going to do is now peel back just a little bit, adhere part of it so it's along that scale, and just then peel back the protective layer, pressing it down as we go. We're going to add the next, or create the base of the bag after we've completed the rest of the bag. I found that the easiest. So now we want to add one of the sides. So again, you can see the side. I'm going to just move it down so you can see it. You could line this up at the top, and then it should line up close to the base. And then we can just remove the protective layer. So as you have it sort of lined up, you can hold it down with this part of my hand here. And then I can just fold it down once it's adhered, and then slowly move back the protective layer, and then just press down. So now I have a side of my bag added. I have half the base added. And now what I'm going to do is add the next side. So again, you're going to have the side, take another side piece with the 1-inch score line at the bottom, And we're going to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to sort of line it up here. I'm trying to make sure you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to line up the top so that it just goes to the score line along here. And then make sure the base, I'll move it up, fits as well. And then I'm just going to keep holding it down, but lift this corner up so I can pull back the protective layer from my adhesive to allow that top part to adhere. Make sure everything else is lined up, and then I can just pull this down, making sure it's adhered as I go, and then you've got it perfectly aligned. So now we have 3 sides of our bag. So now what we want to do is flip it over so you have the inner piece facing, and then you can fold in one of the sides, and we're going to do exactly the same thing with the back. I started with the front. If you started with the back, you're going to then add the front, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to line it up. I'm going to just move it down so you can see. While I'm holding it here, going to grab the little piece of the protective layer, allow it to adhere. Make sure it stays lined up, and press or fold or pull this piece back. I may be off a little bit, but hopefully your score lines were all okay. And then I'm going to just fold this back, fold this in, and then line up this final piece of the front, or this, I'm sorry, the back, to this piece. Okay. Hopefully it fits well for everyone. Just going to take this piece back. And just remove it. So now you actually have, oh, I knew, I forgot we were going to cut a piece, but that's okay, we're good. So you should have sort of a flap here with your gift bag and these 2 flaps on the side. And now what we need to do is cut the little piece here on both sides. So I'm going to show you here. So we just have to cut this 1/2 inch to the fold line, and we're going to do that on the bottom piece as well, or this same little flap area here. Okay, you're going to do this because that's going to allow it to fold to the inside. Can you see that? So that's going to allow this to fold to the inside on both sides. And then we're going to be able to fold the back or the base in, and we're going to have that one little piece that allows us to use the 8.5 by 11 inch paper for the 12 inch size wide paper. So do the same thing on the other side. Now we could have done that earlier when we made the signs. but I kind of forgot. And then we're going to do it here as well. Now it looks like I didn't line that up very well. So I'm just going to make sure it's going to fit okay. It'll be fine. So I've kind of put it together, but I haven't removed the protective layers of the double-sided tape. Okay, so this part where I've got my finger tapping here is already attached. And then this is the side that we need to attach. And what we want to do is I want to take the back piece of this off because it's already adhered at the back. And you can just fold it in and try and line it up with the score line. I don't want to do that right now to the front because this bottom piece needs to kind of tuck in there as well. So we're just going to do the same thing, remove the protective layer from the back piece and fold it down. And you can still, sorry, I'm going to get my head in the way here, but you can actually rub it down right along that score line. Okay. Now this one, the front, you want to be able to tuck in. And then you want to be able to tuck in. I'm going to, because I didn't get mine lined up exactly right, I'm just going to cut this in a little bit. So if anybody had that same issue, you can cut a little piece away. It's just that I want the double-sided tape to not be showing. I'm going to have a little fold in the bottom of my bag, but that's all right. So now what I'm going to do is remove this little protective piece. I'm not going to adhere it right away. I'm just going to fold this bottom in. And then try and make your bag square, because make sure it doesn't have, and then you can adhere it. Sometimes it might be off on a little bit of an angle. And then the easiest thing to do, like I've adhered it a little bit at the corner here. Well, not really, I guess. Comes out. And I'm just going to rub it a little bit. And now I'm going to try and get this little piece of the double-sided tape started so I can pull it back. And again, I'm just going to start with a small piece so that it's actually square. Hopefully you can see that there. And so now I can move this little piece. It doesn't look like it's squared there. But once I finish the bag, I can push that out with my finger from the inside. And now I'm just going to, again, peel back. And you can put your hand on the inside as well if you find that easier. This is the trickiest part here. Now I'm going to turn it upside down, and then I'm just going to rub my fingers. I'm going to try and show you, but it's pretty. But I'm just going to rub it along the inside edge here to adhere the double-sided tape. And in this instance, it was the back of the bag. And I'm just going to press my little corners out there. Okay. So now we have our large bag with coordinating base and sides made from cardstock, 65 pounds cardstock. And now in order to make it fold flat, I'm going to make sure the back is to the back of me, or to the back, facing the back. And again, we're going to just pinch the top pieces and work our way down the bag from both sides. And then you're going to get a piece, you're going to end up with some resistance, and just gently try and fold in the sides, because they have to fold in until you can press it flat. Because we're using thicker cardstock, having that score line along on the inside of the side does make that folding happen a little easier. So now we have our fold flat 12 by 10 gift bag completed. So using a coordinating colored cardstock for the sides and the base of your gift bag, you can make a variety of sizes. So I did make, I'm just going to grab it here, another size gift bag that I used. And again, it's so hard to show because they're so big. So this was a 12-inch paper with poinsettias and a different poinsettia piece at the top. And I used two 12 by 12 pages, and I just put them in half. I scored them basically, I don't know, I think this was 5 inches, 5.5 inches, because I needed a little tab on each side that we could adhere the two pieces together. So it's 5.5-inch square bag. And I used, if you can see, red for the base. So I didn't have to use another color for the side, but I wanted to use a different color for the base. And then I'm going to show you the inside of this bag. If you have something particularly heavy, like say a wine bottle or something glass or heavy, then you can always cut another base from the same color cardstock and put it on the inside. So make the base like we did either of the smaller gift bags or the larger gift bag. This one I did make a base that I put inside, just like we did with the last larger gift bag. But then you can put another piece on the inside, and that just reinforces the base, so it's really nice and strong. Now, I didn't make this one fold flat, but the same thing would apply. Just score the sides halfway and then make a score line on the base, half of what your base is up the back. Pinch it, and then you can fold it. So lots of options. I think that's the thing. I'm trying to make different bags so you could try and figure it out, whatever size you need. So Karen said she really liked that paper. And this is the paper pad I use. So this is available on the Ecstasy Crafts website. It's called Festive Flora. I'll show it up there. I think Corey put it in the items for the class if you wanted. And it has a variety of Christmas papers. It's 180 gram square, so it's quite thick. I think when you use 12 by 12 papers from either these paper pads or the paper packs like from Studio Light, it's a really nice quality paper. It makes beautiful quality gift bags. So I'll just flip through because it is lovely paper, Christmas colors with Christmas mistletoe, holly, poinsettias, pine branches with pine cones on the other side, which is quite lovely. Some holly here, another type of holly design. So I could see lots of beautiful gift bags from these papers, but also you can use them for card projects as well. So that's the Craft Consortium Festive Floral pattern. And then this was the one I had used for that bag. And this is the opposite side. So yeah, lovely papers. So that's Craft Consortium. So now when you look at paper pads, you can think of them as being used for gift bags as well, as opposed to just scrapbooking or card making. So now, these are my 3 gift bags. Let me find my little one that I made this evening. And now what we need to do is just add the handles. So, and you can decorate them, right? So use any die cuts that you might have. I use this, nested heart die, and I used the paper, and I used black, and then I die cut a sentiment, and I made my gift tag for this bag. So now all of your dies that you might have in your stash, you can also use them to decorate gift bags, whether you made your gift bags or whether you have some gift bags that you want to decorate. The other gift bag I made, I used a die cut. Now this is a special die that I use. It's a Sue Wilson die, and it happens to be named Marilynne. So Sue Wilson joins Ecstasy Crafts for several years at the trade show in California for stores to go to. And so she made dies that she named after me, after Anita, and after Dennis. But Dennis's was Denise. So, but she actually named them after all of us. So I thought, well, I'm going to use my namesake die. And so that's what I used here to decorate the center of the bag. And there's 5 dies in this particular design, a frame, and then this middle design, or this, yeah, I guess this is a middle, and this is the inner design. And then there's a frame for the inner design. So I also cut it out of black cardstock and matted it on a white circle to create the tag. So now you can use your dies as well to decorate your gift bags. Now, what to use as handles? So I used a variety. If you have ribbon, you can use ribbon. This is kind of a cheap papery type ribbon for this bag. Then I also went to the dollar store, and they have a variety of different cords. So this is like a velvet type cord, which I thought was very nice. And then you can also get rope type cord, which you would normally see on store-bought gift bags. And then I also use like a lace type ribbon. So whatever you have that might match the designs. So I can show you, let me just move my things here away a minute. So this is the cord that I got. So you do get lots of cord. And then there's other cord that I found as well. And this is different colors. So this I actually use in my poinsettia gift bag. So you can see it there. And then I had this red cord also comes in a navy blue. And my velvet cord, it came sort of in a roll like this. So you might have things available already, like ribbon. But if you wanted some cord, you can check it out. And then to attach the cord, what you need to do is punch some holes that I just use a small hole punch. I'm not sure the measurement of this, but it's the standard size for paper. So you can just either measure or eyeball where you want the hole to be. And I'm just going to try and do it in the center and just inside from the fold. You can see there. So this one's pretty easy because I have stripes. So I can punch it around the same area on the paper. And you're going to punch through all. So this is a few layers because we folded it over. And then I did cut some of the cord, and the cord will fray. So a trick to try and prevent the cord from fraying is to use hot melt glue. Now I don't have my little hot melt glue gun hot, but basically I just put a little bit around it and then wait for it to cool a little bit and then pull it or squish it down against the edges with my fingers. You let it cool a little bit so you don't hurt your fingers. And then take this end like so, and then just tie a knot on the inside. So it doesn't matter. You can get lots of cord to make an easy knot, and then just tie it at the end as tight as possible. So you want it as small as possible. Okay, and then I can just pull that through, and then I have my handle. And I'm going to do the same thing for this side, and then I would do the same thing on the other side. So just try and make your knot as tight as possible. And then you have a handle for your gift bag. So that's how you would finish the gift bags. And then for the smaller gift bag, because it is smaller, I used a thinner piece of, and this happened to be lace ribbon but you could use any kind of ribbon that you had. Now for this piece, I added, remember we made, I'm just trying to look for my little one here. Oh, here we go. So this one I didn't fold over, but I added the little piece of silver cardstock. So I just taped that to the edge, and then I punched the holes through both. Now, when I punched the holes, I creased my silver cardstock. So I thought, oh, how am I going to cover that? So then what I did was I cut, if you can just see it, little reinforcers. So if you have a tag die, or if you have the tag die that we used in one of our classes, this one with the floral border, it has this little die here that creates two reinforcers at the same time. So I just cut through two pieces of the little leftover slivers of paper that we cut off, so I could cut 4. And I just added those so it covered up that sort of folds in the cardstock from the punch that was made. So it covered it. And then I put the ribbon through both and just tied a little knot. So that's how I finished off the small bag. And then the big bag was the same as this bag, using some cord, punching holes. Now, if you don't have a hole punch, there are dies, often that come with tag dies, that will make a little hole. So before you put the bag together, you could just die cut the little holes into it, into the bag where you want them. And then you're ready to go to add your cord. So that's 3 different size gift bags for you to make. And hopefully you can get some ideas after you make a few. It takes a little while. Then you can make different size gift bags from different size papers that you might have, or you can cut the paper to whatever size you want. So, but these 3 sizes will probably accommodate a lot of your gift giving. And then of course, the square that I made from the Christmas paper, that's a little different size too. But lots of options from 12 by 12, 6 by 6, or even 8 by 8 paper. I didn't make an 8 by 8 gift bag, but you could do it with the same sort of technique and just decide how big you want the gift bag to be. So I hope everybody enjoyed that, and you're going to be inspired to make your own gift bags in the future, or for Christmas coming up, and decorating them with your dies, which, I don't know, I think it's a whole other way to use your dies and that you have, and you can coordinate a card with a gift bag with a tag, and it would be really nice and very unique for the recipient. I think we all like to make cards because they're unique, and we can specialize them for the recipient. So if they have a particular hobby or a particular dog they like or something, then we can always make it special for the recipient. So that's it for tonight. Now, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to prepare the next class. And because of different events happening in my family, I think we're going to have to cancel the next class in 2 weeks. However, I should be able to have something available for August 4th. That's 4 weeks from today on the Thursday. And I'm really hoping, I'm going to show you a couple samples. So these are Lisa Horton dies. There's a tulip, so it's an embossing folder die set. And I'm hoping they're going to be in time that I can make both of these cards, but that you would choose one, or of course you could choose both if you wanted, to make. Because I think I could go through two, because they're very similar how to make them and shade them. But you would just have to choose one, whatever you preferred. So this is tulip. So I didn't get the embossing folder, but it's an embossing folder die set. So you can actually just emboss a design, or you can emboss and cut it out. So there. I think my camera was frozen for a second. But I add a little bit of sparkle. So that's a tulip. And then the other design I have is the daffodil. So this uses the embossing folder die set and then inks with some of our blending brushes to shade the designs. So I'm hoping this will be available for August 4th. And if not, then I'll come up with something else. I know they are coming back in. I just don't know when we're expecting them. So, but this class will be coming up. I just don't know when. Otherwise, I will come up with something else, and just stay tuned to our website or the announcement for the next class. Corey usually sends it out, and as soon as I know what we're doing. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you on August 4th, and stay tuned to our email blasts, and I think I'll do a quick little video sneak peek of the next class once we have it confirmed. So have a great month. I hope people are enjoying their summer and have some vacation time planned. And we'll see you back on August 4th. Thanks again for joining me. Bye for now.